There's an excitement in the air today around the entire village. It's Christmas Eve and everyone is making final preparations for their Christmas holiday. 1882 has been a good year and the little village is happy and prosperous. Little village? More like growing village. A new train station has opened up Bevan's Village to the rest of England. People are flocking to this once sleepy hamlet. As you can see, more than a few newcomers have moved into this Bevanside paradise. But don't worry, all the old-timers are still here telling their tales of yore. As you wander around the village, it's easy to get lost in the hustle and bustle. Crowds of people rushing here and there. Merchants selling their goods and hoping they can get started on Christmas preparations of their own. Families carrying bundles of baked goods and delicious treats headed to one of the many celebrations happening in the village tonight. Yes, Bevan's Village is a very busy place today. And no one is busier than the Maydew family at the Buttertub Farm. The farm is always a busy place. Every day there's so many chores to do. And with Christmas only a day away, there's even more to do. The animals still need to be tended to. Goats fed, cows milked, chicken eggs collected. There's young Catherine Maydew, gathering eggs right now. She's excited because she knows that these eggs will be used to bake Mother Maydew's famous Christmas delicacies. Yum! I can taste them now. Mom's plum pudding and her special Christmas cakes. Yum! Speaking of Bessie Maydew, there she is now feeding the family chickens. Chores around the farm can be exhausting, but Bessie enjoys them. Listen closely to Mrs. Maydew as she hums her favorite Christmas tune while doing her chores. Here you go, ladies. Come get your special Christmas dinner. Oh, there you go, my sweets. Eat up. The horses seem to be running low on hay. Not to worry, more hay is on the way. Hurrying back from the market are Thomas Maydew Sr. and his son, Tom Jr. You can sense Junior's excitement for the annual visit from Father Christmas. Papa, do you think he'll bring me a hoop this year? I don't know, Thomas. You'll just have to wait and see. I just have to have a hoop. The other children have them. It's up to Father Christmas. We'll have to see what he brings. Now run up ahead and let Mother know we are home. Like any village, Bevan's Village has its cherished traditions. Every year around Christmas, the Dickens Village sign is hung in front of the old lamppost in honor of the great and revered author Charles Dickens. The old lamppost is a true symbol of Bevan's Village. Lit daily by Mr. Morris Timmins, like clockwork, Mr. Timmins is there to illuminate the lantern at 3 p.m. sharp. It has been his honor to do this for the past 20 years, as it was his father's before that, and his father's before that, and his father's before that. Ah, there's the family workshop of Bob Cratchit. That's right, the Bob Cratchit. As you know from the Dickens story, A Christmas Carol? If you remember in the end of said story, Mr. Scrooge had a change of heart and the Cratchit family is now well cared for. It happened right here in Bevan's Village. Mr. Scrooge provided a safe place away from the main village for Tim to convalesce from his illness. Mr. Cratchit could work here and keep a watchful eye on Tim. As we move down the street, we come upon the Thornbury Chapel. This brown brick chapel is a quaint spot for locals to take a break and reflect on their busy lives. But most of all, admire the beautiful stained glass windows. Might I add, county-famous stained glass windows? Crafted locally by Bevan's Village artisans. These windows are a sight to see. Looks like some birds have found a nice place to rest, too. Another little-known fact about the village is the famous bard William Shakespeare was actually born here, and that building is his real birth home. What's not known about these claims on Shakespeare's birthplace is that Bevan's Village lost a claim to rival hamlet Stratford-on-Avon over a cricket match, or more specifically, a wager on a cricket match. Bevan's Village has never been known for its cricket prowess, but they are known for their pride, and when challenged to a wager, they never back down. Except I bet they wish they had this time. Crossing in front of the building are Marabella and Bam Bagnet. They are dressed to the nines. Let's see where they're headed this fine winter's day. I heard there are going to be more than 20 children at the party. Hopefully they have enough Christmas birds for all those hungry mouths.
They will have more than enough, dear.
as they do every year. Plus stuffing and jams and cakes, we shall all have our fill. I know, it's such a wonderful tradition, and so nice for the young Baron to carry on his father's tradition. The children will be so pleased. Careful, dear. That coach is traveling rather quickly. In fact, it looks like, my goodness, it's the Queen's parliamentary coach. It seems even Queen Victoria has discovered the attractive charm of Bevan's Village. It is now a frequent resting place as she travels up to one of her royal getaways, Balmoral Castle. Some of the best addresses in all the village are located here at the townhouses of Mulberry Court, an ideal location because it's far enough outside the main village, yet close enough to access all the benefits of village life. Some of the current Mulberry Court residents are the young Baron Claypool, the multi-generational Fogg family, and the elder Granger couple. Today is a special day at Mulberry Court. The Baron is hosting his annual Christmas party, a party in honor of the staff and students at the Rockingham Public School. Many wealthy locals and alumni from the area attend the party. Most lead the party in a charitable mood and a bit poorer. And over at the Browning house, it looks like they're preparing for a somewhat smaller get-together. Mr. and Mrs. Browning's family are traveling from all over the country to celebrate Christmas at home. Are you certain there's enough firewood? Yes, dear. We don't want the children to catch a cold. Yes, dear. Do you think you should chop some more? No, dear. Really? Fine, dear. I'll go chop some more. Thank you, Mr. Browning. Anything for you, Mrs. Browning. Mr. Browning better hurry up with that extra firewood. I think the afternoon train from London will be arriving shortly. That means so will his family. The Browning house has been a staple in Bevan's Village for generations, but recent prosperity has spurred on some new development too. Josiah Dursley is considered one of London's new money. He has earned his newly found fortune in the lucrative steam industry. And he's enjoying the spoils of his hard work as he attempts to integrate into English society. Hopefully this country estate will be a start. Here are the Dursley family outside of their estate. How are you enjoying the country, my love? I think it's wonderful. A perfect place for Emily to grow up. Yes. An ideal location to integrate into society. Oh, Josiah. Be quiet and enjoy the brisk country air. Remember the beautiful stained glass windows in our Thornbury Chapel? Those windows were crafted right here in Bevan's Village. Bevan's Village stained glass has a unique style that's been passed on through the generations. Many students make a pilgrimage to Bevan's Village to learn the unique style only practiced here, a style called Bevan Baroque. You can see the maestro at work. Master artisan Uriah Macabre is working on his latest creation. It's a beautiful day to be cutting glass. And that's it. The final piece is in place. It's perfect. Bellissimo. It's the perfect gift. My gift to the village. Merry Christmas, everyone. A perfect gift indeed. The village is excited with the upcoming holiday and blessed with the spirit of giving, but it's also blessed with the spirit of adventure. No one is more adventurous than the children from Rockingham Public School. On the day when the children should be excited to be attending their annual Christmas gala, the call of the wild is too much for these children. And how could you blame them? All that smooth, sparkling, solid ice just calling out to them. But the headmaster would never let them out to skate on such an important day. So some of the more daring children have taken it upon themselves to engineer an ingenious escape. It's the old bed sheets tied together as a rope trick. Don't worry, the headmaster won't be too upset. After all, kids will be kids. And just look at them. They are out on the perfect day. Don't you love the sound of happy children? Not far away are some more children out enjoying the day. Father Coddington has discovered a way to keep his children near home, and yet still entertain for hours. He has built a novel invention called the seesaw. The children just love it, and it's a great way to pass the hours before Christmas Eve dinner. The Coddingtons love their cozy home, nuzzled in the corner of Bevan's Village residential area. It's an ideal spot to soak in all the Bevan's Village Christmas festivities. And speaking of Christmas festivities, can you hear the melodious sounds of the Pickerel family singing Christmas carols as they sled from one end of town to the other? good King Wenceslas looked out on the feast of Stephen, when the snow lay round about, deep and crisp and even. Every year, the Pickerel family start their musical journey at Buttertub Farm and make their way across the entire village by nightfall, singing the most festive Christmas carols everywhere along the way. Father Pickerel pushes the harmonious sleigh through the soft, powdery snow. Young James lights the path of their journey. Mother Pickerel, Alice, Martha, and wee Horace enjoy the warmth of blankets and Father Pickerel's slow but steady pace. And look there, little Alfie's marching beside his father and singing the loudest every step of the way. It looks like preparations have begun for Christmas dinner at Chancery Court. Grandpa Elias Ashstable carves the Christmas goose every year. But before the family gathers to enjoy the savory bird, Grandma Ashstable pours herself and Grandpa a glass of sherry, and they enjoy a private holiday toast. Those cardinals also seem to be enjoying a toast of their own, but instead of sherry, they're sipping delicious ice-cold water from the Ashtable's decorative bird bath. The Ashtable grandchildren are outside working up an appetite by playing with their new hoops. Father Christmas has come a little bit early this year in the form of Grandpa and Grandma Ashtable.
I figure I could roll this down the whole street, maybe all the way to London. Wait for me! I bet I can roll mine further.
I wonder if I can spin this hoop around my body. Ah, we are witness to the beginning of a new tradition. Clement Trippener has decided to cut down his own Christmas tree this year, and Bevan's Forest is the perfect place to find one. The real tradition is that Father Trippener has brought along his oldest son, Samuel, to help pick it. After all, someone needs to carry the axe. It looks like the Trippeners have found their tree and a new tradition. And to Mr. Trippener's delight is that someday Samuel will be big enough to carry the tree instead. Ah, behold there in the distance, a father and son. That's the real-life Bob Cratchit and his dear, dear boy, Tiny Tim.
Father, is Mr. Scrooge joining us for Christmas dinner?
Yes, Tim, he is. Why do you think Mother has us running around the village on these last-minute errands? Everything needs to be perfect.
It's already perfect, because we will all be together.
Yes, Tim, it is perfect, but...
And we're all in good health.
Yes, Tim, we are. If only it were that simple. There's some business that I need to discuss with Mr. Scrooge.
Father, it's Christmas. Business can wait.
You're right, Tim. You're right.
Notice the beautiful stone etchings on the facade of the Ewart Public Library. Although the library is new to Bevan's Village, it's been modeled after ancient and scholarly Greek institutions of learning. Ewart Library has all the great historic volumes, and many new publications too. The citizens of Bevan's Village now have access to Chaucer's Canterbury Tales, as well as Emily Bronte's Wuthering Heights. Every Christmas Eve, Ebenezer Scrooge has been haunted by night terrors. The ghosts of old business partners, the ghosts of past, present, and future. This Christmas Eve, the ghosts are visiting again, not to haunt or warn, but to celebrate a very changed, very generous, and extremely happy Ebenezer Scrooge.
Merry Christmas, my yearly visitors! Right on time!
Merry Christmas, Mr. Scrooge.
Swift's music store is known for its fabulous window displays. This season, it's busier than ever. Probably the busiest since the store was established in 1839. This holiday season, there has been the run on the sheet music of Bevan's Village own composer Adolphus Trebleclef. His Christmas symphony is the talk of English society. Store proprietor Elias Swift is hoping that some of those beautifully displayed cellos might accompany the sheet music under the Christmas tree. The patrons of Hoop's Public House treat each day like it's Christmas. Why, you might ask? Why not? One of the many fine drinking establishments in Bevan's Village, Hoop's is known for its upscale clientele. Ideally located between the residential district, the train station, and the main square, this homely little pub is perfect for everybody. Looks like Mrs. Glenhill has sent the mister out to acquire some last-minute supplies. You can't have Christmas without some of Hoop's Pub's delicious ale. Looks like Mrs. Glenhill sent the family dog Scraps along to make sure Mr. Glenhill doesn't stop and have a few along the way. Home, Scraps! Go home! Please go home, you darn dog! Won't even let me stop and enjoy a few Christmas pints. All right, Scraps, we'll head home. Or maybe we should just go back and have another pint. Perhaps the busiest place in all of Bevan's Village is the King's Road Post Office.
Postal carriers are out delivering Christmas packages to anxiously awaiting parents all across Bevan's Village. There's an influx of last-second letters trying to find their way to Father Christmas. No letter will be left behind. Look now as Postmaster Morris Parcelman helps young Nani Banks post her letter.
You're certain he'll get it in time? Aye, lass, he'll get it. What if he doesn't get it in time? Tomorrow's Christmas. Aye, lassie, tomorrow's Christmas, so there's plenty of time for him to get it. What if he doesn't read it? He'll read it. How do you know? Because he's Daddy Christmas.
Another attraction that Bevan's Village is known for is their street vendors. And no street vendor is more elegant and welcoming than Mary Gray. Her cart, tea in the afternoon, is perfect any time of the day. She takes great pride in her cart and in her tea.
Happy Christmas, me dearies. 2p a cuppa. It'll make you feel right as rain. Nothing better for the mind and the body than some chamomile tea.
The doctor's surgery is very quiet, but doctors are ready to respond to any emergency. Hopefully the only patients they see this Christmas are the ones that have a little too much self-medication, holiday celebration. Outside the surgery is the welcoming face of Miss Florence Nightingale, another famous resident of Bevan's Village. Seasoned in the medical tents of the Crimean War, Florence has dedicated her life to the care of Bevan's Village residents. My poor patients can't be with their families on Christmas. I'll get them each a little Christmas gift and give it to them as I make my nightly rounds. There's Mr. Jager, our local solicitor. Looks like he's giving Christopher Hammersby some much-needed legal advice. Seems like Mr. Hammersby has a question about a deed. And indeed, Mr. Jager's specialty is deeds.
I don't know whoever drafted this deed, but they're making a grave mistake. That misplaced comma means the land is still yours. The court will certainly rule in your favor.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Jager. This is the best Christmas present I could ever have.
Glad I could be of service, Mr. Hammersby. Good day and happy Christmas.
Happy Christmas to you, too.
Mr. Jager always has time for his clients, but he needs to hurry along and get changed. He's dressing up as Father Christmas to surprise all the children at the Baron's Christmas party. And no doubt his trusty dog Justice will be at his side the entire time.
Come along, Justice. It's time to become Father Christmas. Ho, ho, ho!
Looks like Reverend Coxingwhite is ready for the Christmas service. His open arms are welcoming all to join him in celebration. Bevan's Village residents anxiously await his sermon about Christmas and the spirit of giving. Sudbury Church is known for more than just its charismatic minister. It also has a wonderful nativity scene which is proudly displayed outside the church. Mrs. Runningfield and her daughter Gemma are on their way to participate in Christmas services. Gemma is playing the Virgin Mary in the Christmas pageant. She's been rehearsing all week. And Mrs. Runningfield is the lead soloist in the Sudbury Choir. Her Ave Maria is said to be the most beautiful in all the United Kingdom. After the service, Reverend Coxingwhite will return to his residence at the Old East Rectory, where he is hosting a big Christmas celebration for the poor and elderly of Bevan's Village. Bankers are known to love their holidays. The Blenheim Street Bank is closed on Christmas Day, so any last-minute banking will need to be taken care of today, and soon. It seems like the bankers are looking to close early today. Of course they are. Victoria Station, named after our beloved monarch, is one of the finest buildings in the entire village. Its size is impressive enough, but more impressive is Victoria Station's clock tower, a gift to the village from the Gustav Becker Clock Company based out of Switzerland. It's said to keep perfect time. It seems that Gustav Becker, the most famous of all watchmakers, has decided to spend his Christmas in our village. No doubt here to admire his finest creation, or at least we think so.
There she is, my finest work. My clock has really found a happy home here. It's your clock now, Bevan's Village. Happy Christmas.
Today, Victoria Station is a place of great joy and much relief. Family members are returning home to celebrate Christmas with their loved ones. So much can be said in the silence of a hug and a warm handshake. It seems that we are witnessing a reunion over at Platform 2. Betty Hidgen and her daughter Lizzie have traveled down from Manchester to spend Christmas with Betty's parents, Godfrey and Helena.
Lizzie, my dear, come here and give Nona a big hug.
No, I don't want to. Lizzie, don't be shy. Go give Nana a big kiss. But I don't want to.
Come here, Lizzie. Nona needs a big Lizzie hug. Don't force the girl. She doesn't want to.
She'll warm up to her, Nona. She's just tired from the journey.
I know, dear. Once we get you home and get some hot cocoa in you, you'll be right as rain.
Hot cocoa? Really? Mother, can I have hot cocoa? Yay!
Come along with Nona.
The first thing a visitor will see after they get off the train is the Bevans Village Town Square. This is the center of town and the focal point of the Bevans Village community. Daily, hundreds of people pass through the square, stopping by to relax on one of the many benches and take in some of the local entertainers. It is the perfect place to people watch all year long, but during the holidays, it is extra special. Every year on November 30th, a very special tree is cut down from the forest and brought to the town square. The entire village gathers to welcome the tree and help decorate it. Let's visit some of the people that are in the square. 3 generations of McDoyle family are gathered by the tree. The McDoyles are a very musical family. Grandpa McDoyle is an accomplished flute player, his son Jerome a talented violinist, and the children love singing. Jerome's brother Harry is handing out carols for anybody that wants to sing along.
God rest ye merry gentlemen, let nothing you dismay. Remember Christ our Savior was born on Christmas Day.
Those boys look captivated by Jester James and his 5 golden rings. And why shouldn't they be mesmerized? He can do amazing things with those rings. He juggles, spins, throws, and hides his rings with the greatest of ease. The crowd especially loves it when he does his signature trick, the 5-ring spread. The square is a great place to connect with old friends. Professor Jarvis Fitzwilliam and Professor Tobias Pearsbridge, old chums and retired Oxford professors, have just bumped into each other.
Hello, old boy. How are you faring this fine Christmas Eve? Very well, my friend. Very well indeed. Just finishing some Christmas shopping. Just finishing some last-minute shopping myself. We must get together soon for some tea. We must, and that will be most enjoyable.
The square is a lovely place for couples to take a walk. Captain Murphy and his wife Ellen are stepping out to enjoy the day in the village atmosphere.
Cap, doesn't the tree look wonderful?
It sure does, my dear. A wonderful vision to behold.
And the singing is lovely.
Like a choir of angels.
And look at the jester with those golden rings.
Truly amazing, dear. A perfect day for a stroll.
Yes, Cap, it really is.
Some people prefer sitting on the comfortable benches and soaking in surroundings. Lord Pettibone and his ladyship Eleanor often come here and enjoy an afternoon.
How magnificent! 5 golden rings!
5 golden rings? 5 golden rings? I like the sound of that. Perhaps a new lyric for my song.
So you're up to 5 then. How many days are there?
12 days of Christmas.
5 golden rings, 4 calling birds, 3 French hens, 2 turtle doves, and a partridge in a pear tree.
Mrs. Stratford of Stratford's Tarts is baking Christmas treats as fast as she can. Orders have been placed weeks in advance to ensure that Christmas tarts will be ready in time. Ideally located next to the town square, Stratford's is popular all year long. People say Mrs. Stratford's tarts are the best they've ever had. They think it's something in her secret recipe. She says there's no secret recipe. It's just the love she puts into each and every tart. Mr. Lloyd was smart enough to place his order last week. Look at all the tarts he's carrying. The Lloyds must be expecting a lot of guests for dinner.
These tarts smell scrumptious. They're so hard to resist. Maybe one bite won't hurt anyone. Nah, I better wait. After all, this is a surprise. And won't the missus be surprised? She'll be so happy, which means I'll be happy too.
The East Indies Trading Company is finally a quiet place. That is not true of the past few weeks. Until now, a constant stream of goods has flowed in and out of the warehouse, mainly imports from the exotic places in the Far East. Ming Dynasty vases, Indian teas, Japanese kimonos, the villagers can't get enough of these fantastic items. I say it will be an exotic Christmas in more than a few households here in the village. Speaking of interesting imports, an orange tree has been shipped here all the way from America. Somehow the tree was able to bear fruit during its transatlantic journey. Those workers better hurry and get that tree protected if anyone is going to enjoy the lovely juice from those oranges, because it's too cold for that tree to survive on its own. If exotic imports are not your thing, maybe antiques and rare books are. The Old Curiosity Shop contains the finest collection of rare books and other oddities in all of Central England. But proprietor Ramsay Higginbotham sells more than just books. The most popular items in the store are various knickknacks, which he calls novelties. It looks like Lewis Dawkins is leaving with a rare book in hand, and waiting for him is Alderman Bamber?
Oh, you're a good man, Dawkins. Thank you for picking up this book for me.
Certainly, Mr. Bamber. It is curious, though. Why not go into the curiosity shop and purchase the book yourself?
Truth be told, my wife thinks that I spend too much time and money in the curiosity shop. At least I'm not spending time in there if you go in for me.
However, you're still spending money. That will be £2, 3 pence.
Fine, here you go.
That's the sound of Luke Hanford and his trusty bugle. Hanford is riding on and announcing the arrival of the regal coach belonging to the Dowager Countess, Sophronia Leaford. She is somewhat a local celebrity here in Bevan's Village. A few years back, on Christmas Eve, her coach broke down while passing through the village on her way to London. While waiting for it to be fixed, she wandered the village and fell in love with its atmosphere and its people. She traveled from shop to shop, introducing herself and making known how much she loved the quaint village. Her energy and frenzy was enough to take your breath away. Now, as you can imagine, the Dowager does nothing quietly. And that year she loudly proclaimed that she will visit Bevan's Village every year on Christmas from now on. And she has. She is very welcome in Bevan's Village, but not without a little warning to all the villagers. As she arrives every year, Luke Hanford hops up on her coach and announces her arrival, giving the villagers enough time to prepare for the hurricane known as Sophronia Leaford.
Deck the halls with boughs of holly, fa la 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 la. 'Tis the season to be jolly, fa la 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 la.
Sounds like the local bobbies have already started their Christmas celebration. On Christmas Eve, all the officers get together and have one of the largest Christmas parties in all of Bevan's Village. The officers' party has a motto: eat, drink, and be merry, and they do. Let's listen some more.
See the blazing Yule before us, fa la 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 la. Strike the harp and join the chorus, fa la 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 la.
Daniel Dorrit is the happy cobbler of Bevan's Village. Every day he sets up his stand, smokes his tobacco pipe, and repairs shoes. The reason he's called the happy cobbler is that he recites limericks as he works.
A wonderful bird is the pelican. His bill can hold more than his belly can.
He can take in his beak, food enough for a week, but I'm damned if I see how the hell he can.
If you're looking for fine antiques, Quilly's Antique Cellar is the place for you. Quilly's is staying open all night long for any 11th hour shoppers. Which do you think would make a better last-minute gift? A grandfather clock? A tuba? That silver pot? Whatever you're looking for, Quilly's has it. And while you are there, don't forget to pet old Jenkins, Quilly's dog. Jenkins is deaf, partially blind, and sleeps most of the day, but he still wags his tail when stroked by a friendly hand. Jenkins is the perfect dog for this store, an antique. If you want a little of Bevan's Village holiday spirit, stop in at the Staghorn Lodge. You'll know the former hunting lodge by the Tudor architecture and by the horns above the door. Everyone is welcome and treated like a local. What's on the holiday menu? Roast beef and a pint of ale. Nothing could be better than that. And it looks like they're expecting a big crowd tonight. Pub owner Caleb Chambers is stocking up on extra barrels of ale.
Okay, lad. The inventory seems to be right. These should get us through the celebratory night. Aye, sir. Just tell me where you want me to put them.
Stock them on top of the others.
On top? I was afraid you were going to say that.
One of Bevan's Village's most unique characters is the Bird Lady of Wingham Lane. A novelty to most, but to the Bird Lady, these parrots are a passion. And she only sells her parrots to loving homes.
She currently has 10 parrots living freely in her home. The only time they go in cages is when they are being transported to a new home. Looks like Maggie Gooch has just picked up a parrot as a Christmas surprise for her household. And won't they be surprised? Okay, Polly, you need to be quiet when I get you home. You're supposed to be a surprise, you are.
Rah! Quiet! Rah! Surprise!
Polly, shh!
Rah! Quiet! Rah! Surprise!
Maybe you'll be quiet if I give you a cracker? Does Polly want a cracker?
Rah! Polly wants a cracker!
One of the two theaters in Bevan's Village, Theatre Royal, is the smaller community theater, a replica of the theater with the same name on London's famous Drury Lane. The village has a lot of talented actors, singers, musicians, and writers. Currently dark for the holiday, Sweet Nell of Old Drury opens at the Royal after the first of the year. That's correct. Eleanor Towsey Stewart, also known as Nellie, is bringing her incredible voice to the Royal. The famous Australian ingenue first appeared in this opera at the original Drury Lane, but she has a special place in her heart for the Bevan's Village replica, and we have a special place in our heart for her. Old Nellie of Drury Lane is sold out for the entirety of its run. Oh no, that's the sound of an emergency. Nothing that the brave volunteers of Ashwick Lane Hose and Ladder Company can't handle. Those fresh tracks in the snow would indicate that the Ashwick Lane Fire Company has already left to deal with the emergency. It must be a big one. All of the firemen and the station's only wagon are gone. The fire station, a beautiful red brick building with big wooden doors, can be seen from anywhere in the village. And because of that amazing little bell, it can also be heard from anywhere in the village. Tucked into the corner of Bevan's Village is the old Camden Town Church. Camden Town is the name for the older part of the village, or as the locals call it, Old Town. It is the third place of worship in Bevan's Village and open for use by all denominations. The church will be in constant use over the next 2 days, as any and all faiths celebrate Christmas in some way.
Fresh fish! Get your fresh fish! Mackerel, cod, skate! Fresh fish! Get your fresh fish! I'll even clean it for you for 2 bob more!
Jacob Huffman is the local fishmonger. For years he's peddled his fish in the old town. Every morning, day after day, he picks up the local delivery and carts it out to his corner. Even on Christmas Eve, he's out there announcing the catch of the day. And this is a family affair. Both of his grown daughters, Cornelia and Ophelia, are also in the business. They have opened their business next to their father's corner cart, the Splendid Cod. The Splendid Cod offers fresh fish and chips, mushy peas, and potatoes. The Huffmans offer Bevan's Village one-stop fish shopping. Buy fresh from Jacob and prepared from the Splendid Cod. The holiday spirit is very much alive at the other village school, simply known as boarding and lodging school. Most of the students have returned home to their farming communities outside of the village. But a few students remain and are making the most of it. Bernard and Jolly Harrison look like they are prepared to bring a homemade cake to a celebration.
Careful, careful! We don't want to drop it. We worked all night to make that.
We worked all night? We? I did all the work, and all you did was boss me around.
Not now, Jolly. We need to focus on getting the cake there in one piece.
Keep it up, and you better focus on getting yourself there in one piece. Oh, there's old man Gossip waving hello to us.
Looks like Gossman Sippers is taking a rest underneath the lamppost. Sippers is the local observer. He notices all the comings and goings in the village, and what he observes, he tells everyone. The locals have shortened his name and use it as code to warn others. They say, "Tighten your lips, looks like old Gossip is coming over."
It looked like those children are heading over to Haversham's house. She hasn't left that house in years. I wonder what it's like inside. I must talk to them later. I can't wait to tell Miss Richmond all about this. She'll be so curious. Oh, they're looking this way. Hello, children! Merry Christmas!
Being the wealthiest man in the village has its perks. While Mr. Scrooge is entertaining the ghosts at his newer house, he still maintains his old home too. What used to be a boarded-up vacant building is now apartments for some of Bevan's Village's less fortunate residents. When Mr. Scrooge had his change of heart, he realized that the Cratchits were not the only ones he was neglecting. So he is renting his rooms out at affordable rates. And if someone misses a month, well, he might help them with that too. Isn't that the Christmas spirit? Look at that magnificent structure. There's nothing else in the village like it. The stonework is quite fascinating, but not as fascinating as what's inside. This is the workshop of master puppeteer Nettie Quinn. And to the delight of children and parents alike, every day at noon, she puts on a puppet show for all to see. She has built a Punch and Judy stage into the facade of her shop. Daily, the whole village stops by to watch the 5-minute play. And after the show, parents wander into the shop and pick up a very special gift for under the tree. Here comes Mrs. Jones and young Veronica.
Keep walking, Veronica. I am not stopping. But, Mommy, can we please stop for a second and just look? Veronica, we have so much to do before everyone comes to dinner tonight. Please, Mommy, I just want to look. You just want to look? Yep, I just want to look. Famous last words. Fine, let's go in, but I'm not buying anything. That's okay. Maybe Father Christmas will bring it for me tomorrow.
Get your Christmas bird here! Get your Christmas bird here!
Old Ewan Slice is probably having the busiest week of his year. 3 days ago, he stocked up on as many geese, turkeys, and ducks as possible. Old Mr. Slice doesn't even realize how much of a part of every Bevan's Village Christmas he is. His birds will be part of every Christmas celebration in the village. By the end of Christmas Eve, he will be sold out of everything. There go some happy customers, or at least a happy mom.
Thank goodness he had some birds left. I was worried we were going to only have cabbage for Christmas dinner. And such a big bird, too. We'll have quite a feast.
But, Mommy, we aren't going to actually eat the bird, are we? I want to name him Ducky.
Yes, dear. We are going to eat him. He's dinner, not a pet.
Well, I'm not going to eat the feathers.
Christmas is a time of love and being with family, but it's also a time to remember departed loved ones, too. Although Mordecai Mould's funeral home will be quiet today, Mordecai's work will be on the minds of many, as people fondly cherish memories of their loved ones, or perhaps even visit a grave marked by one of Mould's exquisitely carved tombstones. Although the crime rate is low, Bevan's Village still has a small, eclectic criminal element. If you've ever read the great Dickens novel, Oliver Twist, you will be familiar with the notorious criminal Fagin. And you guessed it, Fagin is a real resident of our village. Although he tries to maintain a low profile, Fagin's presence and his warehouse headquarters are well known to the police, as they keep a watchful eye on his supposed barrel company and his shenanigans. Well, it looks like Fagin's hideaway might be in trouble. Yes, it certainly is. Fagin's hideaway seems to be on fire, and not just a small fire. This place is going up in smoke. I guess we know where the fire brigade is rushing off to. And there they are, the brave men from Ashwick Lane Hose and Ladder Company. In the lead are Silas Scribnard, Humbert Redley, and Ramsay Larksmith. They are armed with buckets and hoses. They will assess the situation and try to figure out if there are people in the structure. The cart behind them is being driven by Theodoric Malley. Theo carefully drives those horses through the snowy streets, making sure the cart stays balanced. You see he carries important cargo. His cart holds the large water tank that the firemen will draw their water from. If anything happens to that tank, it could mean catastrophe for the burning structure. Pulling up the rear with a handcart is Marcus Sharpgame and his brother Wyndham. Their cart holds the main hose and extra hoses that the men will need to repel the fire and to reach all parts of the burning structure. As you can see, the brave men of Ashwick Lane Hose and Ladder Company never take a day off. Thank you, men. Good luck and Merry Christmas. If you're looking to step out and make an impression this Christmas, a fine Bevan's Village gentleman should look no further than Bumpstead Nye Cloaks and Canes. Nye only employs the finest tailors, seamstresses, and craftsmen to create fashion that leads the trends. Bevan's Village doesn't follow London's fashion. London follows Bevan's Village. This Christmas, a select few dapper men will be walking to the metronome tattoo of Nye's canes. They will be the source of envy from other men and the source of desired emulation from the women around the village. Bevan's Village is abundant with music today, but none of it sounds as sweet as the beautiful music from one of Olaf Adelberg's music boxes. Olaf is a fourth-generation music box maker, and the gift of an Adelberg music box symbolizes your love for the recipient. These music boxes are passed down from generation to generation. The shop itself is quite unique, with one of the only thatch roofs in all the village. And to make the shop more distinct, there is amazing stone carvings on the facade, crafted right here in Bevan's Village. It seems that there are two people working very hard this Christmas Eve.
Those chimney sweeps are the father and son duo of Tommy Grosmer Sr. and his son Tommy Jr. The Grosmers are more comfortable navigating rooftops than they are walking on the street, and for young Tommy, clearing chimneys doesn't even seem like work. His family gets paid for him to play in soot? Amazing! They're trying to ensure that the village residents have a warm and cozy Christmas. And maybe, just maybe, Mr. Grosmer might just be trying to get some final Christmas tips before the holiday. Looks like Angus Bell and his wife Constance are enjoying a stroll near Bevan's Village waterfront district. Next to our historic seawall and waterfront lies the magical and very mysterious Glendon Cocoa Works. The cocoa factory seems to have caught the attention of our strolling couple.
Angus, maybe we should stop in and just taste some of the new holiday samples.
My dear, you are reading my mind.
And the door is open, just welcoming us in.
Then let's go.
Gary Glendon opened his cocoa works almost magically. No one remembers what was there before his chocolate factory. One day, it was just there. And right off the bat, it started making the most delicious treats. At first, no one was allowed in, and no one knew how they made their chocolate. It was the talk of the town. Then one day, 5 lucky people won entrance into the factory. After they had their fantastic journey through this chocolate wonderland, they came out with the most amazing stories. It opened up the factory to the world. From that day on, all were welcomed in. Sharon and Darren McFerrin are getting water from the Bevan's Village water pump. Ideally located at the seawall, it's always a pleasant journey to get a bucket full of water.
I want to pump the water.
You're too little. Just hold the bucket. When will I be able to pump the water? Maybe next year.
Fine.
Come here, we'll do it together. Merry Christmas.
Yay!
Looks like Peter Barry's making his deliveries today. Every time he makes his rounds, it's like Christmas for pub owners and drinkers alike. The Red Lion might be a small pub outside of town, but it's a much bigger brewery. And they distribute to all the local pubs in Bevan's Village proper. It looks like Barry's just dropped some barrels off at the Horse and Hounds pub. Normally, he might accidentally lose a barrel or two somewhere around Fagin's hideout. Probably not today. On the waterfront sits the old mill. Yup, it's still in use after all of this time. Daily, grain is shipped in from boats, and a few hours later, flour is carted out in wagons. All the bread and pastries, including all the holiday delicacies we've seen today, originate from the mill's flour. It's a historic part of our waterfront and a productive part of our community. Bevan's Village's most interesting watering hole is the Horse and Hounds pub. It's always the promise of a jolly good time. This rollicking waterfront pub was the drinking haunt of such famous authors as Lewis Carroll and Oscar Wilde. And you can see why with its cozy red bricks and stone-carved facade. Most nights the pub patrons stumble out in song, like these two fine gentlemen.
I saw 3 ships come sailing in on Christmas Day, on Christmas Day. I saw 3 ships come sailing in on Christmas Day in the morning.
Oh, Bogey, me old pal, it's Christmas Eve and all is good. Budgie, you're my best friend. You're my best friend too. I'm feeling thirsty. I'm feeling thirsty. Let's go back inside. I'll buy you a drink. Thank you, Santa Claus.
And what was in those ships all 3 on Christmas Day in the morning?
A newer installation to the waterfront is the Bevan's Village newsstand. With trains running more frequently, early morning and afternoon editions arrive daily, and not only from England, but also from the continent too. News seller Marion Gage recently moved to the village from Fleet Street in London. He once visited the village when he was a boy and fell in love with it. He has brought with him his other love, the news, and village residents are eating it up. There are even talks about starting a Bevan's Village Chronicle covering all the local news. That's Sir St. John Papersmith scanning all the different news publications.
So much to read. So much going on in the world. I wonder if they have cricket scores. Wait, George Eliot is really a woman? My inquiring mind wants to know.
Tea is still Bevan's Village beverage of choice, but coffee is taking its hold on the streets of our hamlet. Joseph Pearsgate has set up his cart and is serving hot cups of coffee all day long. He has also set up his waterfront cart far enough away from the tea cart as to avoid conflict and competition. He does his best business during the morning. Seems people really need their coffee in the morning. Many people buy a cup of joe, as the locals call it, and a newspaper as they rush off to work. This Christmas, people are lining up to try a special seasonal cup of coffee made with peppermint. I guess they would call it Peppermint Joe? If you hadn't noticed, the waterfront is the ideal place for local vendors to set up their carts. And it's the perfect place for Reginald Burnoil to sell his fried chips. His delicious chips are a warm treat on a cold day. Chips are a craze in Bevan's Village. For the holidays, Reginald is wrapping his chips in special holiday wrapping paper. He is also offering a special deal. He is giving away 2 orders of chips for the price of 1. Like the coffee vendor, people love chips because they are quick, easy, and can fit into their busy lives. If chips are too fast for you, but you still want a waterfront meal, you might want to make a reservation at the Grapes Inn, located right on the water. You can enjoy a pint of ale, some mutton stew, and a beautiful Bevan's Village sunset. Walk up to it, or row your punt up and park it outside. If you're looking to stay in a romantic spot, you can rent a room upstairs. However, there are no vacant rooms tonight. Guests have to book months in advance to get a room during the holidays. What's that beaming light slicing through the fog? A beacon in the middle of the choppy sea? That's our Linton Point Lighthouse. Recent revisions have modernized the lighthouse to guide the increased shipping traffic coming into the village docks. But starting tonight at dusk, the lighthouse becomes the village's main spotlight, searching for Santa and his 8 reindeer in the sky. At some point, every Christmas Eve, parents swear they see Santa's silhouette in the light. All the children rush off to bed, hoping to fall asleep to the sounds of hooves on their rooftop. Don't tell anyone, but Old Man Giles, the lighthouse keeper, puts a cutout of Santa and his sled against the light as a way to help parents get their kids to bed. One of Bevan's Village's most iconic fixtures can be found fishing along the seawall. Erasmus Granger, also known as Gruff, has been fishing along the seawall for 50 years. Although he's known as Gruff, he's actually a friendly guy, welcoming all with a smile and a story. And the best part of his day is when he catches a fish. He declares,
"Thank you, fish. You'll make a fine meal."
Looks like the Dudley Docker is coming into port. The Docker is bringing in the last catch before Christmas. The nets are teeming with fresh fish. But soon those nets will be empty, and all the fish will be part of holiday celebrations. The crew of the Docker are all Bevan's Village residents. And courtesy of the captain, they are carrying home their choice of the freshest catch, much to the surprise and delight of their awaiting families. For lovebirds looking for some privacy and romance, the Regent's Park Punt Rental offers that escape. Located on the western side of the waterfront, this small wooden structure rents out boats for anyone to use. Weather permitting, the rental office is open well after dusk for anyone looking to take a moonlit rowing excursion. A true gentleman looking to make an impression on his belle might row her along the romantic seawall over to their dinner reservation at the Grapes Inn. Another Bevan's Village legacy is currently one of the busiest stores in town. Abel Beasley & Sons Butcher Shop is an old mainstay. Old Man Abel is the second Abel Beasley to offer his meat butchering services to the village. This Abel is lucky though. He has 4 sons working for him. He spends most of his days outside the shop greeting the locals and admiring the cuts of meat in his shop's windows. And look at those glorious meats hanging in the window. Let's listen to Abel.
Come get your Christmas cuts. Finest meats in the village. Make your Christmas dinner special with some of our fantastic cuts of meat. Or stop by tonight and join us for dinner. We'll be cooking up this special pig. All are welcome. Bring your appetite and some Christmas spirit.
Another long-standing Bevan's Village store is simply called the Wool Shop. It's where local residents get all of their wool goods. Wool blankets, wool sweaters, wool pants. The Wool Shop does it all. And Bevan's Village master weavers make all these stylish goods. There's a unique style to all the goods made and sold here. London's fashionable society calls the Bevan's Village style Bevan chic. Anyway, sales have been great this holiday season, and there will be a whole lot of Bevan chic all around the village. Mother Molly and daughter Laura Brown are walking outside of the shop. Seems like they are heading to a special holiday party.
These fruits smell so delicious. I don't think I can wait till we get there.
Laura, we must wait. These foods are for everyone at the party. But I must say they do smell delicious.
Mother, can we stop by the seawall and have a tiny taste?
I won't tell if you won't.
The leather bottle is located in the perfect spot for Bevan's Village shoppers to take a break and get a snack. Offering meat pies, puddings, biscuits, and cheeses, this dockside eatery offers the comfort of homemade meals, just not made at home. Instead, the meals are made with love by store owner Catherine Sexton. Have you ever had one of her famous pork pies? Oh, you'd remember if you'd had. Why does Miss Sexton call her eatery the Leather Bottle? It could be that she serves all her patrons their drinks in a leather canteen, and it's the perfect place for the Dudley Docker crew to get a top off in their leather flasks. Let's take a breather and admire the structure that makes everything in Bevan's Village taste better. Not the structure itself, but what is churned inside this impressive building. Bevan's Village butter is rated year after year as the best butter in the UK. Squire's world-famous scale sits in the archway, weighing thousands of pounds of butter each year. Squire's also becomes very popular around the holidays, not necessarily for its butter, but for its whipped cream. Residents line up every night around closing to fill their bowls with the most delectable whipped cream. And the Squires, generous with their products, give it all away for free. Local fruit seller Tom Chitling is standing in his usual spot outside of Squire's Butter. His cart is full of sweet, savory tart and exotic fruits from all over the world. Look at the way he's showcasing that basket of glorious-looking fruit. It's all guaranteed to sell out. And now we know where Laura Brown got all that delicious fruit she was carrying.
Merry Christmas! Get your fruits! Get your Christmas fruits! Perhaps cut them up and put them in a cake? A Christmas cake? Perhaps a Christmas fruit cake? A Christmas fruit cake? I might be onto something. Grandpa Melton is taking his precious granddaughter Esmeralda on their annual Christmas sleigh ride. They sleigh around town checking out all the holiday festivities, stopping at various places in town. Essie, we are almost home! What was your favorite part of our annual Christmas excursion?
I loved it all, Grandfather. The farm, the windows, our churches, town square, and all the carolers. The fire, the waterfront. I want to do it again. Please, Grandfather.
Next year, my dear, it'll be just as special next year.
One of Bevan's Village's most unique structures is known as the Maltings. The Maltings sits atop a small stone bridge, and underneath it is just flat ground. It seems like the original builders anticipated a stream going underneath the building. No one is sure why the Maltings were built the way it was, but it has since been converted into a private residence. It looks like we are heading towards the edge of Bevan's Village. This signifies the end of Bevan's Village proper and the beginning of suburbs known as Upper Holst Drift. We've been through meats, fish, fruits, tarts, but here we are, William Mather's Wheat Cakes and Puddings. WM for short. Mr. Mathers is a master baker. His cakes are world famous. From royal events to small family gatherings, his cakes are the prize of any dinner. People come from all over not just to purchase his cakes, but to study under him. However, he is one tough biscuit. He assigns specific recipes for his prospective students to make, and then tastes their final product. If he doesn't like your cake, off you go, back home. He does this once a week until one apprentice is left. That person is guaranteed a future anywhere they want to work. Currently, he's wrapping up shop, having planned for and finished all the last-minute holiday baking.
The Baron's cake might be my finest cake ever. I hope all the guests enjoy it. I really enjoyed making it. Now off to home to bake a Christmas cake for my family. Oh, this job never ends.
The hops currently drying in Bishop's Oast will end up in some delicious Bevan's Village beer. Famous breweries like the Red Lion get their hops from Bishop's Oast. The Bishop family has been in the hops business for a long time. The Brown Spires have been a staple in town for generations and make their presence known all across the village. And all that hops makes the beer drinkers in Melancholy Tavern very happy. Yes, Melancholy Tavern is an ironic name for an extremely happy place. Catering to most of the workers in the area, the tavern is a great place to unwind, catch up on the local goings-on, and maybe even find a job. Its angular roof is very much in the character of the village. There's no other structure like it. Charles Mullen is hauling the last barrel of Christmas ale into the tavern. Well, second to last anyway. His brother David Mullen seems to be enjoying a break and a mug of ale. That barrel seems like a comfortable resting place, but isn't going to haul itself. Oh, it's Christmas Eve. Let's let the man rest for a bit. Melancholy Tavern will stay open on Christmas Day for any of the village workers that can't make it home for Christmas. It definitely will not be a melancholy day. And the final stop on our tour is the pride and joy of Bevan's Village, the Globe Theatre. Remember that the famous writer William Shakespeare is from our village, so it makes sense that his famous theater is actually located here too. The classy Tudor Theatre has performances year-round, but it is also the first thing that any village resident will mention to visitors or newcomers. The two trumpeters announce the opening of the main doors, allowing all into the show. If you can afford a box, then by all means, I recommend purchasing tickets for one. The crowd on the floor can be a little vivacious, to put it kindly. Often armed with tomatoes, a bad play or poor performance will not go unnoticed and will receive its just rewards. This Christmas season, the company is performing Romeo and Juliet. You can see local players Marcus Fowler and Hermione Stewart rehearsing out front. The Globe Theatre Company loves to give samples from their shows as a way to entice people into their performance. They don't really need to, as they are sold out all of the time, but it gives people something to look forward to. The Globe Theatre marks the end of our village and the end of our little tour as well. Thank you for joining me on this journey. As you can see, the village is full of holiday excitement. Tomorrow is Christmas morning, and Bevan's Village will bask in the holidays' glow. And after that, a new day, followed by a new year. A year that will bring new residents and businesses, continued feats of progress, and some fondly remembered stories of yesterday. We here at Bevan's Village hope you have a very Merry Christmas, spent with loved ones, making memories that will last a lifetime. And who knows, maybe we'll just take another little tour next year. Merry Christmas, everyone.